New Beacon Books started in 1966 and we moved from house to house, front rooms of houses. The last one is Albert Road, which is not far up the road in Finsbury Park. And then in 75 we came to this storefront bookshop at 76 Drive Green Road. So we've been here from 75 till now. Finsbury Park has always been a very strange area. It's got three boroughs coming together: Hackney, Islington and Haringey, and they all meet at the Finsbury Park there. There's the park itself, which attracts people. But the strange thing is each of those communities in those boroughs have separate little communities, very tight-knit communities. And Finsbury Park was known as a kind of edgy area. So if I got a cab, a black cab, if I was able to get a black cab, because sometimes they wouldn't even take black people, I was getting a black cab and I said, I'm going to Finsbury Park, they wouldn't take me. Finsbury Park was known as a dodgy area. It had estates down the Islington side, and all around this area there were small estates. Mainly of Irish people, Caribbean people, some Greek and Turkish. Greek and Turkish Cypriots. We called them Greek and Turkish, but they were the Greek and Turkish Cypriots, which is a different kettle of fish. And working class white people. And what was important about Finsbury Park at that period, in that early time, was that there was a lot of greengrocers selling Caribbean and African products, vegetables, yam, pumpkin, avocado, saltfish, all the things that people needed. There was most of the shops along the opposite side of the road had those type of stores. So here was a kind of bustling Caribbean and African community for a very long time. And also kind of small shopkeepers, from hardware to key cutters, just small stuff. And not many like recreational places, not many pubs. The nearest pub was on the corner, which is I think the World's End now. And also because this area is in the Arsenal catchment area, the football club, every Saturday there'd be a lot of people milling around for Arsenal. Arsenal and Tottenham in this part of North London had a particular stance or position. I went to West Ham and I went to Chelsea football grounds, and the threat to black people was very strong in those football grounds, although there was a black fan following. In the Arsenal and the Tottenham, both stadiums, there was black sections where black fans would congregate. And so the kind of open racism wasn't so strong. It nevertheless was strong, but it wasn't so strong. And also the violence in football at that time was really between the London clubs. So West Ham, Chelsea against Arsenal and Tottenham. And of course, at Manor House, there was always a fight between Arsenal and Tottenham supporters on the days of Derby days. So this was a kind of very edgy type of area with these communities inside of there, the different types of communities within the boroughs, and also these communities of African and Caribbean people coming in to buy stuff at the greengrocers. Blackstock Road has developed into a North African, Ethiopian kind of a Somali community, and Moroccans as well, and that wasn't there before. That's developed recently. But with the Finsbury Park development, with the high-rise flats and so on, and the hotels along Seven Sisters Road being converted into more expensive housing. And then all the housing on this side of Finsbury Park, which used to be where the black community lived, all in these streets behind here, they're quite big houses and they've all been cut into flats. And they're no longer flats run by the local authority. They've been sold to the private sector. And Finsbury Park, anybody living in Finsbury Park who's within walking distance of the tube, makes it very attractive. So that the demographic of the area has changed, and the cost of the housing, or the prices of the housing, has gone up, so that anybody I know who's living around here who sold their house in the middle 80s or late 80s or early 90s can't buy a house in this area anymore. They have to go way out, nearly past Enfield, to be able to buy a house. And that's the pattern that's developed, so that the community that was a tight-knit community kind of drains away, and also new people come in. There was a plan for a student building further down in Finsbury Park, and also, as I said, the tube, and then the way that these areas become a kind of eating area, it's become very much more attractive for gentrification. The gentrification has caused a couple of things. One, for us, we get a new type of person who wants to know about what this bookshop is about and what these books are about. So that's a positive. The negative is the people that used to be in this community and all over London really are finding it more difficult to come to the bookshop. There was a term when we were here in Finsbury Park called inner city, where the inner parts of the city were being abandoned by the middle classes especially, and they were buying stuff outside of London. But as things got more expensive, people started to go where the transport hubs were, and people started to come back in. As the house prices went up, also people who lived here either rented or they sold their properties, could not live in this area anymore, so the demographic changed. I think that will continue in Finsbury Park, the way Finsbury Park is developing. That is, it's become much more of a going out, socializing area than a living area. If you look at the tube and the railway station, it's packed all the time. We're served by loads of buses, so it will be still attractive to people for the gentrification projects. And as you can see, there's a lot of housing being built right above the station, so that will continue. What type of people will come in, I'm not sure. Right now, the type of people that are coming in are, I would say, middle management types who want to be part of the local community, of the kind of exotic things that go on in the area. We also have these big festivals in Finsbury Park, like Wireless, that happened recently. So it's a kind of strange area to go back and forth. But I think in terms of people actually living inside the area, that will change a lot. The people that I grew up with, or the communities that were in this area, will disperse, and that's traditional after gentrification, and they will move further out to Enfield and even further nowadays for housing, and because the local authorities don't rent locally either, so that will have an effect. What it means for people like us is it'll be harder to survive. and we will have to draw on people from further out.